This is a very valid comment. In the beginning, it's so easy to say the end is nigh, the sky is falling, this unreliability, these motors are so horrible. And then we figure out the reasons why. So if you follow me on my channel, what you'll see is that I'm always about the reasons why. Why do we have oil coolers that clog up? Well, small passageways. Well, so what do? We install a coolant filter. Why do we have EGR coolers that fracture? Well, they get starved for flow because the oil cooler got clogged. Well, what do? Coolant filter. These things solve these problems. Or we say, hey, we're seeing this is a little restricted on the air front. Let me go ahead and throw in a ported intake manifold, like an O-Dogs intake, and get more power that way. The reason why, a Cummins 12 valve is notorious for reliability, or a Power Stroke 7.3 is these things, they don't have all of the add-ons, all of the goodies, all of the extras that existed or exist in the newer trucks. When you start adding all these features, it's one more thing to break. We've done it to ourselves. We want more power. We want better fuel economy. We want less displacement. We want it to start perfectly in the cold. That 7.3 does not start very well in the cold. Why? Could it be because the technology isn't quite there yet? Could it be because the ECM controls and the fueling controls aren't as good as they are in the later built trucks? Absolutely. So on the one hand, it's easy to say, boy, this truck is unbelievably reliable, and it can pull buildings off of their foundations slowly, right? But all of a sudden, if you want the crazy torque, I mean, you go ahead and you apply, 600 horsepower, and all the torque that goes with those kind of numbers to a Power Stroke 7.3, you're going to destroy it, right? Versus that 6.0 is going to stand and take that without any modifications to the bottom end at all. And so, yes, you can of course change out the rods in the 7.3 to support that power, but oh my goodness. I mean, how far can you upgrade a 6.0 without changing the base engine? A lot further than you can a 7.3. And so it's like, there's a very similar conversation in the Cummins space as well, And so of course the 6.0 is more fun to drive than a 7.3. Of course a Cummins 6.7 is more fun to drive than a 12 valve. Well, technology's moved. And so with that comes complexity. With that comes all of our belly aching. We do it to ourselves. I'm right with you. I'm belly aching right along with you, saying how complex these things are. The knee bone's definitely touched to the hip bone. But recognize what's actually going on. That VT365 International, which is a Power Stroke 6-liter, right? Except it's an international 6-liter. Right? It's the same motor though, same cam, same crank, same head, same injector, same all of it, right? And yet it's reliable. Well, why is that? Because it's detuned. So, when we go ahead and we add all this, we add, 120 horsepower tune on the ECM and all this kind of stuff, and then we're surprised when things break. I don't know why that would be. We're just belly aching. We're just being entitled little brats. And why don't we just, stand up and say we did it to ourselves, own that, pay the price of admission and go on? Or don't and leave it stock. How many truck owners who've just left their truck stock haven't had all of the problems with everything in his brother breaking? So the things break when they add more power, but they don't do it in a responsible way. You go ahead and you add, some massive injectors on your truck. Well, don't be surprised when all of a sudden your tranny goes, right? The knee bone touches to the hip bone. So we got to make sure that we understand, we put credit where credit's due. All these motors are actually quite good. Now to this comment here, please recognize that what's actually happening is that the aftermarket has stepped up because people are intelligent. People like you guys that are listening to this, you're intelligent. You're saying, this is the problem. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to make this better. And you make it better. You figure it out for your own truck, and then you bring it to market. And then everyone benefits. And good job out of you. Free market capitalism at its freaking finest, right? So it's not that these motors are so bad out of the gate. It's that we haven't yet figured out solutions to overcome their weaknesses, and we haven't quite figured out the reasons why things fail. But over some time, we do figure that out, and we find out that, hey, this motor can be made better, which is why to go back to the Power Stroke example, yet again, there's so many 6.7 owners that are like, man, I sold my 6.7, I bought another 6.0. I just like it better. Well, yeah, it's more fun. It's more zippy. It's just, yeah. The interior is super comfy. So there's always a reason why. Now we have a little bit more of the rest of the story. So help this help somebody. Whatever parts you need for your, Ford, Chevy, or Dodge diesel, we got you. 1995 or newer. Yeah, FICMRepair.com. We can hook you up, and we can talk tech on any of these platforms you want. So I hope this helps, and just know that we're all in this together. And the goal is never to sell you stuff; it's just to tell you stuff. So thanks much. We'll see you.